Hello everybody, welcome to the video. It's your old friend Obsidian Demon, and in this video today guys, it is the beginning of my new series, the first 20, part 1 through however many, which is intended for new Total War players, players who are just discovering the game, maybe because of the hype of Warhammer 3 being announced recently. So if you are a new player, this video you might find a little bit informative. I do have a lot of experience, well over 5,000 hours in the Total War franchise as a whole, and about 2,000 hours into the Warhammer franchise portion of Total War. So hopefully you find this information useful. If not, please spread it around to maybe someone who may be able to find it useful can. So thank you for watching the video, and remember, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. So hope you enjoy, guys. Alrighty, so this is going to be the my breakdown of my first 20 turns. So as you can see, I'm just looking at the objectives, and you know, it's basically just Vortex is what we're going to be going for, and I'm assuming you're going to be going for. So as you can see, a basic army, just some spearmen, archers, a phoenix, and a bolt thrower, and Tyrion, which is actually pretty solid. And we are currently surrounded by the Cult of Excess, which, don't worry, it's not going to be that big of a problem. So now, in the beginning, you could do very, very little in the ways of the Court of Intrigue. You can, you know, as you can see, you really can't. You don't have any influence. And as for recruitment, and as for research, all you can really do is just go first and then decide if you want to go spearman or archery prowess. I personally recommend archery prowess, which I think I went in this video. So I made a couple of deals with Yavris. It's pretty good for some easy money off the start. But now, see, going in the glittering battle here, in the battle of the glittering tower, I did I decided to fight it, even though it's pretty much a blowout fight. But I did it just so that I don't take any casualties. You know, you can send in the Phoenix, like, you know, doing his bombing, and then Tyrion himself. The guy is a freaking wrecking machine. You know what I mean? By himself, he can hold. Like, look at him. He's holding off an entire little army, so like in a little section of the army. As you can see, it's a quick blowout. You know, like you only need to, as long as if you can bomb correctly with your Phoenix, it's just that fast. You know what I mean? It's quick. I think that battle took me like a minute, probably less than that. So. And that's just to make sure you can go on with no casualties. Just makes it a little bit more simple and whatnot. So now, in terms of abilities to use for Tyrion, I would highly recommend to always use the army upgrades, the army buffs, or the blue tab on the bottom of their abilities, just because they are way more helpful in the early game and even in the late game. So it's as good to have them quickly. I know some of the spells are really good and stuff you could get for Tyrion, but I would much recommend that you do the army buffs. So now, as you can see, we're gonna get a couple of, you know, just a normal couple of quests. These quests are actually quite simple, by the way, and like I don't really go through, I'm trying to go through this as fast as I can. I'm not really taking time to read any of them. A lot of them are just simple: build a building, build some units, do this and that. Those are very easy quests, and I highly recommend that you try to go out of your way to do them, because it is a nice source of easy money in the early game. So so now, as you can see, we moved north towards the Tower of Lyson. We can, you know, sign some more deals, make some more money, you know. So, you know, I highly recommend, if you're playing as the High Elves, you always want to try and make friends with as many other High Elf factions as you absolutely can. Now, the same as the first battle, we're going to actually fight this one. You know, just, it's not like I'm in fear of losing. Once again, I just don't want to lose I just don't want to lose anybody. And that way we can continue on towards Angerial unabated. So this way, we're doing pretty much the same thing we did on the first battle. We're just doing it a little bit, as you can see, with a little bit more archer power here. And these guys don't exactly last very long. This I think was about 20-30 seconds. It was insanely fast. And of course, yeah, you know, and that way you don't lose anybody. So you can just go in, occupy, and there's your first province. Pretty simple, pretty easy. So now, once again, use the bottom abilities, you know, because you want those Elven Healing and the Quartermaster ability later on down the line, just to make it way cheaper for you. At least in my opinion. I know some people might do it another way, but what helps your army in general, I think, is way more beneficial in the early game. Now, and like you said, as you can see, now the target is going to be Angerial there to our east. So I'm just kind of building what we can now. Mind you, the building that I do, I always make buildings in these cities that go beyond in the provincial cities, and the cities and the buildings that only go up to level 3, I keep in the smaller cities. I just do it for diversity's sake, and I think it's a little bit more simple. So now this is one of the best situations that you want to try and get into really quickly, because this way we're on a full army. We ambushed, and he didn't see us. So this way he didn't come back to the city. So this was a quick blowout, quick auto resolve, and it's just simple. Now, sadly, you do have to make the sacrifice in order to get that city. I kind of had to sacrifice the Glittering Tower. You know, it's unfortunate, but at least this way I was able to just put an end to them. Now, all the little events that you get from time to time that you get to rule on, I recommend that you do every one of the options that gives you influence, as opposed to anything else. Even the beneficial ones, like, you know, better public order or trade or whatever, I would rather do the ones that give you influence. That way you can get a really good noble or a mage, something early on when you build the buildings. But I think in this game I got a noble worth 40. So now that one I probably shouldn't have auto resolved. I probably should have fought that one. And I probably would have took way less, but it's early, and it opens up a little bit money to, you know, for me to just recruit more men, because at this point I have Angerial, I have my territory, and there's really no immediate area. So the goal here from this point on is to make your way towards Val's Anvil as quickly as you can. Now, you are going to make enemies with Calidor. As you can see, I didn't go all the way. I did it just so I can get more men back and recruit more, but as you can see, we're going to have to end up going to war with Calidor. Now, you are going to have to violate the territory of Aenarion, I think it is. Aenarion, I think. Please, if I'm butchering the names of these factions, please. You could always, you know, show your discontent in the comment section below. But you do have to violate their territory, so they may not like you a little bit for that, but this is where you're going to have to go to war with Calidor, because there's really no one at war with him. I think this time I actually had to declare an unprovoked surprise attack against him. Not exactly the most honorable thing, but let's face it, the goal of this game is to get... the whole goal of this game, guys, is to simply get to the Vortex ritual faster than everyone else. So, you know, defeating enemies is really not even a major concern. If you can beat them on the battle and hold them off long enough... you know, as long as you take these selected locations in the game that have waystone points, like Val's Anvil or the Shrine of Cain or Val's Anvil in Nagarond. The Mirror Pool of Tapak is also a pretty good one that you can go for. And I'm also pretty certain that there's also another one in the Southlands that you can go for. So there's quite a few locations around the map that you can go for. Just be aware you won't be going to them anytime soon. It'll take at least 50 to 60 turns before you're sending out an army of relevance, you know, that is going to actually conquer for you. You know, it'll be at least turn 50, 60. You probably could do it a little bit sooner. It's just that the support and quality of units I don't think are going to be as high. But hey, if you could, the earlier you could do everything in this game, the better. That just means you have it longer than everyone else. That's what matters. So now, as you can see, we're gonna be doing, you know, we're gonna be working on just getting rid of this guy. We want to get rid of this guy. Oh, and look at that. Calidor tried... see, I remember when I was recording this footage, I was almost, like, surprised. I was like, wow, where was his army? You know, he didn't even protect the city. So, you do got to kind of be wary about that. Thank God I caught that. So I went down and I ambushed, and this was the result. You know, I easily got behind him with reinforcements from the city. His army was entirely wiped away, and basically I decided to go back north again and conquer the last city. So there, you got Val's Anvil, but you do got to make sure you build the Temple of Hakardi, or the whatever temple it is. You got to build it right away for those waystones, and as quickly as you possibly can. You don't want to delay if you don't have to. So you want to get those stones flowing as fast as possible. So here I just, you know, you could wipe out Calidor, and now you have a good border along to the north of Tyrion. And then yeah, you just kind of you're at this point. I'm sitting here, just going, okay, I think are good. And at this point, it's just basically a waiting game until the first ritual. So, because you don't want to move your army into a compromising position. Like, you really don't want to move your armies into a compromising position until, you know, unless you have to. So, you know, just saying. So now the one thing that I really did want to do was I wanted to go ahead and take Calidor. I wanted to get all the lands rather than having to always walk through these lands. You know, Aenarion definitely is a target that you're going to have to go for as Tyrion eventually. You will get him through Confederation or through Force. So this time I just wanted to get these territories as fast as possible. So I basically I went to another person who was at war with them and through them joined their war, so that no one else could actually join in or, you know, face repercussions for it. I'm just helping someone else. And this way I'm able to get all of the province of Calidor and the provincial bonus. And this way my army will be going towards the Tower of Lyson, which is going to be one of the border areas. But at the same time, if the chaos come from the sea or even towards Calidor, I pretty much can respond quickly within a turn, maybe 2 turns, to get anywhere. So, and as you see, I used one of my rituals, and yeah, look at that. Like I'm getting, now we have Lothran Sea Guards and a pretty good diverse army. You know, like it's basic with some very basic units, but for early on in the game, this will do you well. So. Now this was the first 20 turns. I hope this walkthrough and footage is useful to you.